Welcome to Impact Unleashed, the nonprofit edition, where we dive deep into the untapped potential of nonprofits and their remarkable ability to create a lasting impact. I'm your host, Sara Mayer. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to Impact Unleashed, the nonprofit edition, the show where we go beyond mission statements and funding our goals to uncover what really moves the needle for our communities. I'm your host, Sara Mayer, and today I want to tell you a story. It's not about a massive capital campaign or a perfectly polished strategic plan. It's about what we really do in the nonprofit space for our members, for our donors, and most importantly, for the people we serve. This kind of story is what Paul Smith calls the what we do for our customers story in the book, The 10 Stories Great Leaders Tell. Except in our world, customers may be beneficiaries, volunteers, partners, donors, or even entire communities. And this is the story that cuts through the noise and reminds us why we do what we do. So let me tell you about a small arts education nonprofit I worked with. Let's call them Color Bright. They were run by a passionate group of volunteers trying to keep the arts alive in underfunded schools. And every year they scrambled to raise money for supply kits, art instructors, and school partnerships. But their messaging wasn't landing. Donors didn't understand what made them different. And when grant season rolled around, they had heart, but no clear outcomes. Morale was low, they were exhausted, and one board member even said, maybe the community doesn't care about this work anymore. It's where we stepped in, not with a silver bullet, but with a process. We helped them clarify their value, not just in terms of what we bring to kids, but in terms of transformation. We give children an outlet to process trauma, build confidence, and stay engaged in school through art. We refined their impact stories. We trained board members to become storytellers, not just fundraisers. And we built systems, grant calendars, donor tracking, impact reporting templates, so they could show their results without burning out. And something shifted. Their next campaign raised 40%, more than half the effort. Their next campaign raised 40% more with half the effort. That's the better way. They also got invited to partner with citywide youth initiatives, and teachers sent notes saying students who never spoke in class were now leading mural projects. But more than that, they started believing in their power again. So what do we really do for our nonprofit clients? We don't just write grants. We don't just clean up donor databases. We help nonprofits build confidence systems and strategy to become mission-driven machines of impact. And we turn the messy into structured momentum. And so if you lead or serve a nonprofit, you want to ask yourself this: what's one story that shows the real impact of what you do? Not the numbers, not that formal grant language that you put on a sheet. What's one story that shows the real impact of what you do? But the moment someone's life looked different because your organization existed, that's the story. And when you lead with that story, people just don't listen. They believe, they give, and they follow. So I want to thank you for joining me today on Impact Unleashed, the nonprofit edition. I want you to think about what you do for your customers that is different and why it matters. If this story sparks something in you, do me a favor, share this episode with your team or your board, and then sit down and ask, what story would we tell? And remember, you're not just running a nonprofit. You're building something that changes lives, that changes the world. So let's keep unleashing impact one bold step at a time. See you next time on Impact Unleashed. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Impact Unleashed, the nonprofit edition. I'm so excited you were here on this journey. If you haven't signed up for our newsletters and wonderful resources, please visit nonprofitimPactunleashed.co. Again, that's nonprofitimPactunleashed.co. I look forward to seeing you on our next episode of Impact Unleashed.